There's always a shift in energy before something significant happens, and when it comes to your ex, that shift often starts before they even make a move. One of the biggest signs, they become distant without explanation. But I need you to understand, this isn't just about them pulling away. This is about the space being created in your life for something better. See, when someone has been emotionally tied to you, whether it's through love, history, or even just comfort, there's a subconscious connection that exists. And when that connection starts to break, when you start to heal, they feel it. Even if you haven't spoken a word to them, that's when they start acting distant. Maybe they stop liking your posts. Maybe they pull back from mutual friends. Maybe they suddenly go silent when they were once watching you from the background. It feels like they're disappearing, but what's actually happening is they are processing the loss before it fully hits them. This is the part that confuses most people. You think, if they were going to come back, why do they seem to be moving further away? But that's exactly why. People don't recognize what they had until they feel what it's like to lose it. And the space between you, the silence, the distance, it starts to make them think. It starts to make them wonder what's really happening on your side. But here's where you need to be careful. This is not the time to chase. This is not the time to wonder what they're thinking or whether they're missing you. Because the more you focus on them, the more you delay what's meant to happen next. Instead, this is the time to focus on yourself, to step back and ask, why do I want someone who only notices my value when I start moving away? The moment you start to detach, they will feel it. And that's when they start questioning everything. They might not say it out loud, but internally they'll begin to wonder, why isn't she chasing me? Why isn't she reaching out? Is she moving on? And that fear of you slipping away, of losing control over what they thought they could always return to, is what sets everything in motion. That distance they created, it's not permanent. It's a sign that something is shifting. And when they do come back, you'll have a choice. Do you go back to what hurt you, or do you keep moving forward into the life that's finally opening up for you? Energy never lies. Before your ex comes back, something will shift within you first. You'll start to feel lighter, as if a weight you didn't even realize you were carrying is slowly being lifted. See, when you've been emotionally attached to someone, your mind creates a loop, reliving the past, analyzing every conversation, every mistake, every what if, and that loop keeps you stuck. It keeps you in a place where you think you need them to feel whole again. But the moment you truly start letting go, something powerful happens. That mental loop begins to break. You wake up one day and you realize you haven't thought about them as much. Their name doesn't trigger the same pain. You start to look at your life with fresh eyes, and for the first time in a long time, you begin to imagine a future that doesn't revolve around them. And that's exactly when they start feeling your absence. Not because of some coincidence, but because emotional energy is real. The moment you detach, they sense it. Maybe they don't know why, but something feels different to them. That hold they once had over you is slipping, and that's when the panic sets in. That's when they start wondering, waiting, have I lost them for good? Because as long as you were emotionally tethered to them, waiting, hoping, reminiscing, they could feel that pull. But the second that energy disappears, they're left with an emptiness they can't explain. And here's the part you need to understand. This shift is not about them, it's about you. It's about realizing that you were never meant to live your life in a state of waiting. It's about recognizing that closure doesn't come from someone else. It comes from you deciding that you don't need them to heal. It comes from waking up and choosing yourself every single day. The reason so many people struggle with letting go is because they think it means losing something valuable. But what if I told you that letting go isn't about losing? It's about making space for what's truly meant for you. The love, the peace, the confidence, the opportunities that couldn't come in because you were too busy holding on to the past. So before they ever make their way back to you, you will feel this internal shift first. You'll feel yourself reclaiming your power. You'll feel your mind becoming clearer, your heart becoming lighter. And when they do come back, and trust me, they will, you won't be the same person they left. The real question is, will you still want them? Or will you have finally realized that you deserve something better? There comes a moment in life when you start seeing things differently, not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. Before your ex comes back, something powerful will happen. You will start focusing on yourself in a way you never have before. Not out of bitterness, not out of revenge, but because something inside of you will whisper, it's time. It's time to stop chasing, stop waiting, stop looking back at a closed door, and start building something new for yourself. And when you do that, when you shift your focus from them to you, everything starts to change. You see, healing doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you make a decision to wake up every day and pour into yourself instead of into someone who walked away. A decision to stop waiting for closure from someone who may never give it to you. A decision to take all of that love, all of that energy you were so willing to give away and invest it where it truly belongs, within you. At first, it might feel unnatural. You've spent so much time thinking about them, wondering what went wrong, playing back old conversations like a broken record. But slowly, as you begin to shift your energy, you realize something. They were never the center of your life. You just made them the center. You put them on a pedestal they didn't earn. And now you're reclaiming your throne. It starts small. Maybe you pick up a new hobby. Maybe you change your routine. Maybe you start saying yes to things you once said no to because you were too caught up in your past. And little by little, the version of you that existed before them, the version they fell in love with, is coming back. But here's the real power. It's not just the old you coming back. It's a new you. A stronger, wiser, more self-assured version. A version that doesn't need validation from them to feel whole. And this is exactly when they start to notice. Not because you told them, not because you posted something to get their attention, but because energy speaks louder than words. The moment you stop waiting, the moment you start living, they will feel it. And that's when the panic sets in for them. Because the thing about people, they always assume you'll be there. They assume they can come and go as they please, that they can walk away and you'll just wait. But when they feel you slipping away, when they feel that you're no longer in the same emotional space, they realize something they never thought they would. They might have actually lost you. And that's the real test. Because when they come back, and they will, you won't be the same person they left. You will have done the inner work. You will have risen above the heartbreak, and you will have a choice to make. Do you go back to what broke you, or do you move forward toward the life you now know you deserve? There's something that always happens before your ex comes back. And it's not just about time passing or them realizing what they lost. It's something deeper. Before they even think about returning, life forces you to go through a transformation, a shift, a period where you are tested, not to break you, but to build you. Because the truth is, you cannot attract back what you once had when you're still the same version of yourself. Life doesn't work like that. It will first make you face yourself. And that's where the real battle begins. You see, when someone leaves your life, it's not just about them walking away. It's about what that absence does to you. The emptiness, the unanswered questions, the habit of checking your phone, hoping for a message that never comes, the overanalyzing, the wondering if they even cared. But something changes when you realize that their absence is not a punishment, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to rebuild yourself in a way that makes them irrelevant to your happiness. At first, it won't feel like an opportunity. It will feel like loss. It will feel unfair. It will feel like you are carrying a weight that you never asked for. But pay attention, because this is where life is reshaping you. This is where you are being prepared for something greater. There will come a moment when you look in the mirror and realize you are not the same. That the things that used to trigger you no longer have power over you, that you no longer need their validation to feel worthy, that you have become a version of yourself that isn't waiting on someone else to determine your value. That's when you will see the shift. And what happens next? The moment you outgrow the old version of yourself, they feel it. And this is the irony of life. The second you stop wanting them back, the second you stop needing them to complete you, that's when they start thinking about you again. Because people don't miss you when you're still chasing them. They miss you when you've become someone they no longer have access to. But here's the question. When they come back, will you still want them? Because the truth is, the person you become during this transformation may not even recognize the version of you that once waited for them. You may look at them and realize that they never had the power you once thought they did, that you were always whole, always worthy, always enough, with or without them. So if you're in that season right now, if life is making you face yourself, understand this: you are not being broken, you are being rebuilt. And by the time they come back, you will be faced with a decision, whether to let them back in or to walk away knowing you've already won. There's something powerful that happens before your ex comes back, something that isn't about them at all. It's about you. It's about the moment you stop looking back, the moment you release the version of yourself that was attached to them. That's when everything starts shifting. Because as long as you are holding on to the past, you are telling life, I am not ready for more. Think about it. When you were with them, you had expectations, you had hopes, you built a vision of the future that revolved around them. And when they left, they didn't just take themselves with them, they took that vision too. That's why it hurt so much. It wasn't just about losing them, it was about losing the dream you had built with them in it. But here's the truth: you cannot force someone to be in a story they no longer want to write. And that's where most people get stuck. They spend so much time wishing things had gone differently, replaying what they could have done to make the outcome change. But what they don't realize is that by holding on to the past, they are delaying their future. You cannot move forward while gripping onto something that is no longer in alignment with who you are becoming. So here's what happens. Life forces you to shift your focus. It gives you situations that make you look at yourself instead of them. You start noticing how much you neglected yourself while trying to keep them. You start realizing how much you compromised to keep the relationship intact. You start to see that their leaving wasn't a betrayal, it was a revelation of the things inside of you that needed healing. And once you accept that, once you truly let go, that's when something unexpected happens. You start changing. You start focusing on you instead of them. You start prioritizing your own happiness instead of waiting for someone to come back and bring it to you. You wake up one day and realize you don't check your phone for their message anymore. You don't wonder what they're doing. You don't feel that ache in your chest when their name pops up in a conversation, because they are no longer the center of your world. And that's when they feel it. That's when they notice the shift. You see, people can sense when you've moved on. They can feel when they no longer have emotional control over you. And that's when the calls start coming, the messages, the I miss you texts. Because the moment you become whole without them, they start wondering if they made a mistake. But here's the most important part. By the time they come back, you won't be the same person anymore. You won't be the one who begged, who waited, who kept replaying old memories. You will have stepped into a version of yourself that no longer needs them to feel complete. And when they try to return, you'll realize something life had been trying to teach you all along. You were never meant to go back. You were meant to move forward. When you realize that you have grown, changed, and evolved since the time they left, you start to understand a very important truth. Your worth was never tied to their presence in your life. Your value isn't contingent upon their love, their validation, or their attention. That's a massive shift in mindset, and it's often something that can take time to fully accept, but the moment you do, something inside of you shifts. You stop looking at the situation as a loss and start seeing it as an opportunity to rediscover yourself, to connect with your deeper desires, to uncover what truly makes you happy, fulfilled, and at peace. When your ex left, it felt like a painful separation, but in reality, it created space. Space for you to discover who you are when you're not attached to someone else. This is when the journey of self-love begins. And it's not about waiting for them to come back to make you feel whole again. It's about realizing that you've always had everything inside you that you need. It's about stopping the cycle of self-doubt, self-blame, and feeling inadequate because of what happened in the past. You have to shift your focus from them, from what they did or didn't do, from their mistakes or their lack of understanding, and you have to turn inward. You start realizing that you are the one who defines your worth. You are the one who chooses to feel loved, valued, and enough. As you embrace this process, you realize that love is not something someone can give you. It's something you must first give to yourself. This is a revelation that takes time, but when you finally get there, everything changes. You begin to see the situations you've been through from a new perspective. You see that your ex was not the source of your happiness. They were merely a part of your journey, a chapter in your story. And like all chapters, it had to come to an end for the next one to begin. The moment you stop holding on to the past and allow yourself to heal, you start attracting new energy into your life. You create space for people who truly value you, who appreciate you for exactly who you are, and who aren't afraid to be open and vulnerable with you. But this can only happen when you stop hoping for someone who wasn't the right fit to return. It's not about trying to make something work that was never meant to. It's about trusting that the universe has something greater in store for you, something that aligns more with who you've become through your growth and healing. And when your ex tries to come back, you'll find that the person they're returning to is not the person they left. You've evolved. You've grown stronger, more confident, and more at peace within yourself. And that's when you realize that your value was never based on their decision to leave. It was always about you. You were the one who needed to recognize your own worth and create space for yourself to shine independently of them. So when they come back, it's not because you're waiting for them. It's because you've moved forward, you've embraced your own worth, and you've shown the world that you are enough just as you are. And with that understanding, you can decide if they deserve a place in the next chapter of your life. But now, it's no longer about needing them. It's about choosing whether they align with the person you've become. And that's the greatest realization of all. The true power of moving on lies in how you choose to embrace your own worth and growth. So let them go and focus on becoming the person you are meant to be, because that's when everything truly falls into place. When you begin to truly understand your worth, it changes how you view the world around you. It's not just about recognizing your value, but also about shifting your mindset to believe that you deserve better, not just in love, but in every aspect of your life. When you elevate your standards, you no longer settle for anything less than what aligns with your growth and vision. So when they come back, it's not because you are waiting for them. It's because you have worked on yourself, transformed and evolved into a version of yourself that is strong, independent, and complete without them. This doesn't mean that the past no longer matters. It just means that you have recognized that the only person you need to truly care about in your journey is yourself. In those moments when your ex reaches out, you have to ask yourself, what do I really want now? Is this a person who still aligns with the path I am on? Because here's the truth. When someone leaves, it's often an indication that they didn't see the value in the person you were becoming. The person who might be different now, stronger now, and even more certain of who they are. You've put in the work, and you've fought for your peace of mind. So the question isn't whether your ex is coming back, it's about whether they deserve to be part of the person you've now become. You will never get to a place where you are completely fulfilled by someone else if you haven't first fulfilled yourself. The space you've created while they were gone, the lessons you learned, and the healing you've done are all steps toward personal empowerment. You no longer need to feel incomplete, like something is missing from your life. The more you understand this, the more you begin to recognize that love, the right kind of love, will come when you least expect it, but only when you've first given that love to yourself. The truth is, when someone comes back into your life, it's important to assess whether their return is motivated by genuine love, respect, and understanding for the changes you've gone through. If not, their reappearance could simply be a step backward, bringing you back to a place of uncertainty or insecurity. It's vital to maintain the boundaries you've set during your healing process. Healing isn't linear, and there will always be moments of weakness or doubt. But once you've experienced your own personal growth, once you've found your center and your peace, no one can take that away from you unless you allow them to. You'll know your worth so deeply that you won't ever settle for someone who doesn't treat you the way you now know you deserve to be treated. So, when your ex comes back, ask yourself, is this person still capable of giving me the respect, love, and peace I found within myself? If the answer is no, then it's time to let them go again. Because this time, the space you've created isn't for them. It's for you, for your future, and for the new opportunities that are waiting for you. In the end, moving on isn't about holding grudges or wishing for things to be different. It's about embracing the truth that your peace, your happiness, and your life are yours to define. Once you truly let go, you open the door for better things to come. So let them go and make room for the future you've been working hard to create. You'll be better for it, and your life will become a reflection of the strength you found within yourself.
When you focus on your personal growth and embrace your own healing, you create a life where external validation, especially from an ex, becomes irrelevant. This is a critical point to understand because too often we find ourselves yearning for the return of someone who may not have truly valued us in the way we deserve. But when you stand firm in who you've become, their absence or return doesn't hold the same power it once did. What's most important here is the inner transformation. You've spent time working on yourself emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You've allowed the space for healing and growth, and that has brought you to a place where you are no longer dependent on others to complete you. You understand that your worth isn't tied to someone else's recognition of it. As you embrace this, your standards rise. You begin to look at relationships differently, not as something that should complete you, but as something that should complement the life you've already built for yourself. So when your ex does reach out, it's not a sign of weakness or a moment to fall back into old patterns. It's a test. Uh, a test of your growth, a test of your ability to stand in your truth and recognize that your happiness and peace of mind are not dependent on someone else's decisions. You see, when you've truly let go, you no longer hold on to the hope that your ex will return to make things right. You no longer chase after a person who doesn't see you for who you've truly become. The space you've created in your life is for someone who aligns with the person you've grown into, someone who values you as you are now, not as you were in the past. And that's the most empowering part of letting go. You stop waiting for others to validate your worth. You stop hoping that someone will change to fit into your life. You start to realize that you are enough just as you are. And that realization frees you because you no longer need to go back to what was. You've moved forward into a future that's open to new possibilities. So when your ex reaches out, remember this: you are not the same person you were before. You've evolved and you've worked hard to get here. And now you stand in your power, ready to choose what's best for you, not based on past emotions, but based on the wisdom you've gained through your journey. When you start focusing on your own journey of healing and growth, the past begins to lose its grip on you. The people who once played significant roles in your life may start to fade into the background, and that's exactly what you need. This process is not about erasing memories or denying feelings. It's about reclaiming your energy and your peace of mind. As you grow, you come to understand that holding on to the past only hinders your progress. It's easy to be nostalgic or to replay old scenarios, wondering if things could have turned out differently. But here's the truth: when you focus on your own growth, you stop needing validation from those who have already shown you they aren't the right fit for your future. You stop waiting for someone to come back into your life to fill the void. Instead, you fill that space with your own accomplishments, your healing, and your journey forward. This is a time of self-empowerment. You start seeing yourself in a way you never did before, someone who is worthy, whole, and strong enough to move forward, even if your ex is still somewhere in the background. And here's the critical part: you don't need your ex to affirm your worth. They are not the key to unlocking the next chapter of your life. You are. So when they try to come back, it's not about reopening old wounds or starting from scratch. It's about recognizing that you are not the person you once were. You've become someone who understands their value, who knows what they deserve, and who no longer chases after someone who doesn't see their worth. Letting go isn't about closing the door completely. It's about opening yourself up to new opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences. It's about recognizing that the past, while important in shaping who you are, no longer has control over your present or future. When your ex comes back, you don't have to be afraid or uncertain. You are stronger than you were before, and you are ready to choose what's best for you. In the end, the most empowering thing you can do is release the need to look back and instead focus on the amazing life that's ahead of you. When you finally embrace the fact that your ex is part of your past and no longer your future, something powerful happens. You start to reclaim your peace. This is when you stop allowing someone who doesn't value you to hold space in your heart and mind. You stop questioning why things didn't work out or wondering if you could have done something differently. Instead, you understand that the right relationship is about mutual respect, love, and growth. As you shift your mindset and let go of the toxic attachment, you start to notice that your life begins to feel lighter. You stop feeling the weight of expectations and you stop putting the responsibility of your happiness on someone else. Instead, you take full ownership of your joy and growth. You begin to realize that the healing process is not about waiting for someone to come back and fix things. It's about fixing yourself and creating a future where you're the priority. This shift allows you to recognize that you are not defined by your past relationships or the people who couldn't appreciate your worth. When you reach this point, you no longer have any regrets or what ifs because you see everything as a lesson that has shaped you into the person you're becoming. And when your ex finally comes back, it won't be with the same desperation or need for closure. It will be with the understanding that you have grown beyond the need for their validation and you've created a life that's fulfilling on your own. The final step is about freeing yourself from the cycle of doubt and disappointment. You let go of waiting for them to come back or to offer you something that they never could. Instead, you embrace the future with open arms, knowing that you have everything it takes to create the life and love you deserve.